Hi guys, it's Charlie with you at Rove Motorhomes at Gunthorpe. I'm going to walk you around the Chausson Titanium 788 now, just to give you a brief demonstration on how to get on with this motorhome and just where the locations of a couple of the bits and bobs are, just so you know. So to access under your bonnet, we use the driver ignition key. One turn to the left pops the bonnet, second one to the right releases it. Once we're under the bonnet, you've got your positive terminal underneath that cap that connects to the positive on your vehicle battery. So if you ever need to jump start the vehicle, you'll put your red on there, and then obviously you'll put your black on and earth underneath the vehicle, which could be that bar over there, or anything that's obviously connected to the chassis and earth but not painted. That's also your fuse box. You've got your coolant just there as well. Dipstick for your oil is just down there. Then we've got the brake fluid, oil top up, and the screen wash as well, all nice and accessible. Putting it down, simply click it into position, then we can remove the key. Going around to the side of the vehicle, you can't access the diesel cap without opening the passenger door, so it saves having to have a lock on your actual cap. So you just push the nozzle in and fill up. Below that, and we can undo the clip, is your AdBlue. So just twist to the left and release, and you want to fill the AdBlue up when the range runs down to 500 miles. You want about 10 litres in your top up for your AdBlue there as well, and 10 litres typically will last you a further 4,000 miles. We then have the hookup point for the vehicle, which is just here. So this is not only going to charge the batteries in the vehicle, but it's also going to provide power to things like saying the boiler can run on electric, the heating's diesel ran, so not that. Your fridge can use mains, and then also, your sockets in the kitchen, your 3-pin plug sockets, and various other items in the vehicle that requires that high-powered electricity is going to be powered from this point just here. To access this locker just next to us, this is where the secondary key comes into play. So the forward key will literally just do the cab and the cab alone. Every other locker is openable, including the garage door, with this secondary key. Now, once we open this up, we've got the fresh water fill up, which is through this here. So we're going to twist this off, and we simply put a hose pipe down that tube to fill up the fresh water. That will then go into this tank just here, and as you can see at the minute, there is a little bit in there. Now, the reason this tank has a big cap is so you can get in and give it a clean. To drain that tank off, we use that tap just there. So that's your fresh water drain tap. Now, to drain, we simply lift it upright, and then the water will start coming out on the vehicle underneath. Or you can push down if you want to do a little bit at a time. You can push down and do it. Now, to the left of that, you've got your fuse boards. 12-volt fuses, so everything that's battery powered has its own fuse here, and everything that runs off the mains has its own fuse here. Now, this resembles just what's in your house. You've got a main RCD, and you've got 2 MCBs. This will trip if you plug in a faulty appliance. These two will trip if you overload a circuit or cut through a cable. These things, the fuse can blow just by wobbling around too much. So it's always good to carry a pack of those and leave it in this cupboard here, nice and accessible in case any of them go. Clipping that up, you now have your external cold water shower feed. So quite literally, you click your trigger hose onto that point just there, trigger your hose, and you'll get cold water coming straight from the water tank. You will need your water pump turned on inside to access that feature. This here is just your heating system vent. So what I've done, just to show you, is I have removed the vent cover, which looks like this, which you'll need to put on for travel, which will go on just like that. Now, I've removed it off of there, because if with that cover on, it will not fire up the boiler, because you are technically blocking the exhaust by having it on. So that's all that is, but make sure you put it back on every time before you travel or store the motorhome, which is why I always put it in the gas locker, because you'll always got to come and turn your gas off before you travel anyway, so it will remind you to put the cover back on. Now, while we're on the topic of the gas, to turn the gas on, we turn the brass fitting on the top, so I'll just turn it right to close it. So turn it left to open and right to close. That's your gas regulator that sets the pressure for the gas to run through into the motorhome to operate at the right pressure for all your appliances to work. To change the gas bottle, there's a simple brass fitting there that we wind right to loosen, left to tighten, and then we can exchange the gas bottle. Now, the gas must be turned off whenever we're travelling, and it must be belted in position whenever we're travelling as well. We have an access point to the garage around the back of here. I do have the other locker opened up so I can show you in the garage, although be it not much to show other than what was in there when you came to view the vehicle. And then obviously we have the back of the motorhome with all the tail lights down here. If we just take a wander around to the other side, it's a little bit tight down there. We'll go down the driver's side of the vehicle now. There we go. So this is quite similar to the shower head you'll have, and you literally click the trigger and it'll spray out. You've just got a different head for yours. So into the garage, we pull these two locks open, and here we are. In here, we have power. So this socket's powered off the battery. This is powered off of the mains. So anytime you can obviously have something charging in here. This is off your heating system, so it is a fully heated garage. And as you saw before, we've got the carpets in here. We've also got the, I think it was a cover. Can't really remember with that one. Spare gas hose, a full hookup lead, some chocks as well. This will identify to me what we got in here. Little rubber bands for holding things together, all in there. Thermal screen covers, a little adapter as well, which is always handy in case you need to plug in, obviously at home or to a normal socket. You've got a hose pipe back there as well, and then some Fiamma chocks to go with it to help level the vehicle. Your extinguisher is just down there in a nice new bag. But in the garage wise, just so you can see, your inflation kit and your towing eye is kept on that shelf. But that's what's in the garage. Obviously, I know you know that, but again, just wanted to cover it on the video so you've seen it. When you shut the garage door, push these two silver clips in and then turn it to lock it, which, to be honest, I may as well do now. It's getting to 4 o'clock. No point leaving it open, so we'll get it all locked up for the night. So that'll lock that over. Further down to that, we've got the external gas barbecue point. So what you'll do is you'll clip your gas barbecue hose onto there, and you'll have a Cadak situated just here, and then obviously you clip it onto that, and as long as your gas bottle's on your gas locker, that'll feed gas to here, which then once plugged in will go to your Cadak barbecue. Underneath here is your wastewater release, which is just this bar here. If I pull it towards me, it opens the tank, and I can release the wastewater on the vehicle. To close it, I simply push it in. Now, every time you're done using the motorhome, I want you to drain off the wastewater. And typically, you want to drain your fresh water to about 25%, just to leave enough in for your travel home in case you need any water. You're stuck in a traffic jam, you want to wash your face, you need some running water. Leave 25% in just for the travel home, then when you get home, take out the 25%. Now, for your toilet, we've got to empty it at some point. So, when it comes to emptying it, we need to unlock this locker like so, pinch it in, and quite simply lift up there, pull it towards, and then on top the handle will be revealed that you can then carry it with. You then want to take it to your designated emptying area, open this up, spin the cap off, and then quite literally tip out the bottom. The cap does have measurements on there which you can see, so we've already put some blues in. You'll put your blue liquid in that cap, put it into this here, and then it will run into the cassette, at which point then we can lift it, put it back in, and just make sure that orange handle clips in there. That is your toilet emptied, blues added, and ready to go. Just making sure there's nothing in front of the door to show you. So once we step in through the habitation, we do have the door fly screen that will pull straight out from here. Just worth noting, when the fly screen is open like this, we cannot close this door, so just be careful on the windy of days. When we come into the motorhome, everything is currently off, so I'll be starting the motorhome up with you. So when I come in, hold this to turn the mains power on. That's woken the vehicle up, and it's telling us straight away we're plugged in, which is that hookup lead on the other side plugged into the socket there. We then can start turning things on, so I'll turn them off for now actually. Lights on, and then this top switch here does your kick lights so you can see to get into the toilet in the night time, and then this second one does all your mirror lights and your back lights that you can see around here or even over the cab. So they're two light switches. So that's the main lighting isolator, which sends power to all the lights, and they're just individual switches. You then got your water pump for on and off, awning light on and off. So if I click that, the awning light will come on, just there, look. And then down at the bottom, we've got leisure battery levels. So if I click that, it'll show us how much power is in the leisure battery, so we're almost full of charge. Then we've got the vehicle battery levels, and if I click that, it'll show us the vehicle battery charge, which could do with a little bit more. We've then got the fresh water levels, which you can see a third of the tank is full, and the wastewater basically will give you an alarm when it's full. So you can't read how much water's in the waste, and the reason they do this is because when you need to measure how much water's in a tank, you need lasers, but if you're putting stuff down in the tank that's got any food rubbish in it, that can stick to the lasers, so the lasers were forever giving out faulty readings. So what they do now is they just have one laser right at the top of the tank, and when it notices it's getting full, before the water can touch it, it'll set you an alarm off and flash this one up here, so you know to empty that waste tank, how I've showed you just there. If you hold this one in, it'll just change the brightness of the panel, look. Down being the lowest, then it'll brighten it all the way up if you hold it in, all the way up to the top. Now I know there's water in the fresh water tank, I know I can turn my water pump on safely. And that is the control panel. So these just give you the levels, battery percentage and water levels. This tells you the vehicle's plugged in and charging. Now over here we've got the heating. So if I click this on, multi-control, so we've got the heating here. 20, so I can turn the dial to set the temperature, click it in, and then I can pick here, look, power. So I can use 1, 2, or 3. 3 being the highest power. And then, there we go, click it again, you can have time on it. So you can have a timer, look, hour and 30 all the way up to infinite, so you can stay on infinite. So it'll just stay on until you come up here and then turn it off. So it's quite literally choose your power, choose your temperature, and leave it on. And that is it with that. But I'm not going to turn it on now because it's actually quite warm in here and I'd rather not be sweating while I'm trying to do the video. So you just have to hold the button to turn it off, and now it's white, you know it's not on. When it's green, it's on, white, it's off. And when it's in the white, you can go through and just set your day on the menu so you can put timers on and things like that. That there is the thermostat for the Webasto heating system. So that is just there, obviously, to pick up the temperature so it knows when it's reached temperature. Carbon monoxide and smokes over the door, check them once a year. And your Wi-Fi box is up at the top, which is on a magnet, so you can unplug it and take it out with you. If you take this cover off the back, like an old Nokia, you can lift the battery off and the SIM card will go below. You need to input your own SIM card, and this is then going to act like a router for you. While we're on this side, I'll turn on the fridge. So to turn it on, hold this button just here. And then we've got A for automatic mode. So it automatically picks the plug-in that we've done because that is the favourite supply of power. If I click again, it takes it off automatic mode and onto manual mode. So now it's on the hookup. That's on the vehicle battery, which is flashing at us saying, hang on, there's a fault here, hence the red light. And it's because I don't have the engine running. If I went and started the engine now, it'd stay on perfectly fine. Now to change to gas, we tap again and it goes back to gas. And this will then light itself. You'll hear it tick and you'll hear it fire up. The blue light insinuating everything's good. If it didn't fire on the gas, you'd get that same red flash and the fault code come up over here. Now, on automatic mode, if I went now and unplugged the vehicle, it'd go to gas. If I then went to the gas locker outside in the back corner and turned the gas bottle off, it'd go to battery. If I then started the vehicle and driv it, it'd stay on battery. I get to the campsite, turn the engine off, plug it back in, it'll automatically go back to hookup. So it's there to do it all for you. This side is your temperature, 5 being the coldest, 1 being the warmest. When we open the fridge, we've got a blue catch. In this position will allow you to keep the fridge aerated, so you can click it on the first click, leaving a gap, as you can see, sticking out proud. If I then pull the blue catch round all the way, see now it's much more flush. So it's closed that gap up, so we can leave the fridge open whilst not using it to stop any bad smells. In here we've got the spare plug-in for the TV, we've got the TV remote as well and just the box for it. That's where the Wi-Fi goes out onto the roof. Your TV's back here, so to open it out we pull that little lever there, which will then allow us to pull the television out. This is a TV aerial, so this will need either sticking on the roof or out the door to get your best picture. And when you turn the television on, what you'll need to do is obviously retune it every time you go to a different area. So whether it be Derbyshire, Yorkshire, you know, all them kind of things. Every time you cross, you will need to retune that television. As you can see, the TV is plugged in there up at the top. In the kitchen, we've got the bed adjustments. So to bring the bed down, always make sure you put your glass screen down, and all you need to do is click this down button, and that will work whether it's on battery or on mains hookup. And as you can see, we can bring that down to an adequate height, and I've not had to touch a single bit of the lounge, and that's opened up for the bed to ready to be gotten into. Pushing up will raise the bed back up to the ceiling and out the way. As easy as that. Just make sure your hob glass is down and your table is situated in the centre so the cupboards don't come down and hit it. Now, in the kitchen area, other than that, you've got a power socket here that's powered when the vehicle's plugged in. This will work off battery. Push the stud to open up. Your grill pan handles in there with soft closing drawers. Underneath that, we've also got cupboard storage. And underneath there just gets you access to the fresh water tank that you saw from the outside. This is a removable panel that if you just pull on, unclips, and that just gets you access to your water tank again. And then it just pushes back onto them studs there. So you line it up, push it on, and that'll clip onto them studs. To light the oven, we push in and go left, and then click the igniter, and that lights the oven for us. You will need to hold it on for approximately 5 to 10 seconds to get the thermocouple nice and warm before you let go of the button. And to go to the grill, we go to the other side and just do the same process. Hold it in for 5 seconds, and just let it get nice and warm like that, so you can remove your finger. Your hobs use this exact same igniter, like so. Let that burn through, and then the same here. Fingers just long enough there to get the second one going. When you put your electric hob ring on, the light will appear to tell you so. Now we've got the water pump on. When you first come to your motorhome, you'll lift the tap and you won't get a solid stream of water like that. If you've just filled up your water, it's going to need to pull through all the airlocks in the system and all the air out the tank before it gives you a steady flow of water. So when you set up the motorhome, fill it up with water, come inside, run the tap, let it gargle and bubble until you get that solid stream of water. Once you've got the solid stream of water, you know you're ready to go. Now, that must be the light above the bed. That's why I can't see it. So that light switch does the light above the bed when you drop it down. Some nice generous cupboard storage there. And into the front, with the table is a multi-positional table, and we use this lever here to drop it down. Now I'll show you that when you come, because obviously I need to hold the phone in my hand, so unless I can do it like so, where I just lift it, there we go, pushing it upwards like so, and then put your weight on the top of the table, and then push it down, it locks in position. And then we fold it over and centre the table using that ledge to help make up the bottom bed. So then lift the table, find the lever, pull it up, and the table will eject itself back into position. To get a sturdy table, we pull this out and fold it over. And then to that one, that just tightens up and loosens the spin on it, but it should just spin. Yes, that's it. So it'll spin around into any position you want it to, whatever's more accessible. Now, what I'm going to try and do, I think I may need to do it, to be honest, while you're here, making up the seats in the front. It's going to be quite a hard job to film myself doing that, I must admit. But making up the seats is nice and easy, and I'll show you that when you guys get here and how to do it. You got some more USB power just there. More cupboard space. More cupboard space on this side. And then we're going into the back of the motorhome. So, in your shower, when you're traveling, just make sure these two screens are together. You can see the magnetic strip that'll hold them together nicely, and then you quite simply loop that over like so. That's its strongest position to travel in. When you arrive at site, you can then open it all up so it looks more open and spacious. Also, when traveling, try and travel with your shower in the upright position like so, or simply take this out and place it on the floor. To start to get the water through, you can use your hot and cold by spinning this and pulling it out towards me, which I'm not going to do now. It's nice and clean. Opening this door, let it move round, and what you'll notice, it's on a magnet. Watch the lock. I'll not even move the handle. You see how it sucked it in, and now it locks it in place. So no movement of the handle required. The magnet will pull itself in. Now, in order to get your toilet to flush, you do need, see if I can reach around, the blue button's your flush button. So I'm just going to click that one, and you'll see the flush come through. Now, in order for that to flush, you do need your water pump turned on. And if I move this lever to the right, the trapdoor will open, dropping that into the cassette. So, worth remembering, to flush your toilet, turn your water pump on your control panel. This light will come on when it's ready to change. We've got some great pressure coming through here on the hot and cold side. We've got storage behind the mirror, storage behind the toilet, and storage under the basin unit, with a heater down at the bottom, which we can open the vent for and close the vent for. The hanging rails in the ceiling, so we can open the vent, warm this room up, shut the door, and it will keep it dry while you close. Right, into the back then. To adjust the bed, obviously we know you come in, we're going to order a new, well, I think they have ordered a new easy bed winder. So essentially what we're going to do, put the winding mechanism tool into this slot just here. The winding mechanism can be found in the book packs, and simply wind, like when you used to start up an old car. And that will tighten up these seatbelt mechanisms, lifting the bed up. As it stands at the minute, the best way to wind it is by having the bed up like this, because it gives you the best accessibility, and this will just about touch the ceiling when it's near the top. I'm going to leave it up just as I'm going round. Obviously we can see into the garage from here, because what we've got, in fact I can put it down, I don't really need it up. I don't know why I'm being so precious about it. Over here we've got the boiler controls. USB charging off the battery, and this is how we're going to get hot water. So if we want to use electric, we use the bottom. If we want to get hot water off of gas, we use the top. So when the vehicle's plugged in, we can use the top. So simply in the middle is off, flick down for 70 degrees hot water, and flick up for 50 degrees hot water. Exactly the same on the electric. Down is 70, up is 50. Now this is going to warm up and get the vehicle's water nice and warm. But one thing you need to bear in mind is the boiler's not full yet. So what we need to do, if you've just set this motorhome up, you'll need to go to your tap in your kitchen, run your hot water until you get a steady stream of water and all the air's out. When you've got a steady stream of water, you know it's full, so you know you can turn the boiler on. If you just came into the motorhome, filled the fresh tank up with water and switched that on, you're just heating air up, because you need to pull that fresh water into the boiler to then make it warm water. Now, just trying to think if there's anything in this back cupboard. Nope. Over the top, I know, is full storage. And then down to the left here, we have an access hatch for more storage, as you can see. Little hidey hole, always handy. And then in this cupboard just here, we've got some shelves. Now, when we're travelling, make sure your sliding door is in that Velcro strap, as that is the strongest position, and that is going to keep it nice and sturdy as we travel. Dropping this door down gets you access under the front bench seat, where you can see how the vehicle, how it's actually attached to the chassis. And I'll just double check again under the bed, because what I'll need to show you, I wonder which hatch it is. We've got two hatches here. So I'm just going to take the towing eye out and the toolkit, in hopes that underneath this hatch here, it's not in the book packs, there's your winder. So just as a demonstration, winder, hexagonal head, onto the bar just there, and then just turn like so. And you see it starting to turn these, and that's how you do the bed. Underneath here, we should have, come on, access to your water pump, which is obviously crucial and always good to have. It's always difficult with one hand. This is a headrest for a passenger seat clipped in there. And then under this here, we've got more access to the back of the electrics, as you can see. So they're all little access hatches, more for engineers, granted, but still worth knowing the location. There we go, and they're back on with each other. That there is the back of your gas locker, and obviously now we're under the full bed. We've got some gas isolation taps just down here that we need to leave in the position they are in. That means gas is going to flow through the motorhome to go to all the places where we want it to be. Hope you've enjoyed the demonstration. Hope you find the video informative, guys, and help obviously get on with the motorhome. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, and hopefully you'll obviously have a nice handover day and you enjoy the Chausson Titanium 788. Thank you for shopping with Rove.